Gunther versus Cody. Um, the one thing is that, like you said before, how many times are we going to get a clean finish in these matches? Who knows?
Never.
Um, so I wouldn't be surprised if Goldberg costed Gunther.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Burning Hammer podcast. I'm Mark Izzo, he's Dillon O'Brien, and we are your hosts. And in this episode, we will be getting into what matches we think are going down at Crown Jewel. But before we get into that, you gotta sign up for our Patreon. $1 a month, and you can join the World's Champion tier. With that, you get ad-free content, early content, plus even a little bit of exclusive content. You'll even get some sneak peeks into potentially new t-shirt designs or things we have kind of working in the background. So sign up for that. But even if you don't want to pay the $1, just sign up for a free membership as well. And we still do post some things on there. And that is where we will be chatting most of the time. So if you want to get our thoughts or opinions on anything, we will be on there chatting with the people more than, say, X or Instagram or Facebook. So definitely make sure to sign up for the Patreon, and you got to buy our brand new t-shirt, Roman Reigns Presidential Tee, tpublic.com, along with a few of our other t-shirts we have on there as well. I believe t-shirts are around $22, but I know they also run a ton of sales. So at time of recording this, all of the shirts are $16. So you have to be on the lookout for all of that good stuff. And as always, follow us on all of our social media. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe because we are on the road to 15 hundo subbies, Dylan. So hopefully we'll get there in the very near future. So let's dive into Crown Jewel, Dylan, because right now we've got at least two matches. We're recording this before Friday Night SmackDown, so if anything gets added on there, we do not know about it. But right now we have the Crown Jewel Championship matches going down. So that's Cody Rhodes versus Gunther and Liv Morgan versus Nia Jax. So Dylan, why don't you take us through a match that you think is going to be happening at Crown Jewel? We are less than a month away. I believe probably about 3 or so weeks.
Yeah. Well, first things first, I think great. I think we have, everything put to the side. The guys on the Ringer Wrestling show made a great point, which was kind of similar to what we were saying before, which was like when you take into consideration that nothing matters at Crown Jewel anyway, you might as well give us like the biggest match possible because nothing matters anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, with that being said, Cody versus Gunther. We've been wanting it ever since they were the final two in that Rumble a few years ago, and they kind of put on like a little 15-minute match at the end of that Rumble, and it was so
crazy.
good.
That was crazy.
And yeah, so Gunther versus Cody. The one thing is that, like you said before, how many times are we going to get a clean finish in these matches? Who knows?
Never.
So I wouldn't be surprised if Goldberg costed Gunther this win.
Dear God.
Just saying. I know I said it before on Raw. That was like a little bit more of like a hotter, spicier take. Didn't really think that was going to happen. But Goldberg versus Gunther is going to happen.
You think? You
Like,
think it's Goldberg's last match?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
So I don't know when. So yeah, I'm pretty confident that that's happening. And then, but let's move on to what we are predicting for matches to take place on the rest of this card. So, Mark, the first thing I want to ask you before I predict the matches, how many matches do you think are going to be on this card?
I would say at least 6. I'm leaning 7.
My guess is 6.
Okay.
I lean 6. Since they've been following that 5 format, I think they go 1 extra
Yeah.
for Crown Jewel. But we'll see. I was just curious to see what your take on that was. So the first match I'm going with is and I think it's one of the big reasons they brought this person back at this time was to have him on this show because of how popular he is, and that's Seth freaking Rollins. And he's going to be taking on Bronson Reed 1v1 at Crown Jewel. I think they might set it up as like a main event of Raw and then go again at Crown Jewel, or like go first at Crown Jewel and then go again in a main event of Raw after. But yeah, I feel like Crown Jewel's too close. And they have Crown Jewel's too close in my opinion for this to take place on a Raw, and they have way too big of an opportunity to put Bronson Reed in a really big spot and elevate him. Even with a loss, he is elevated in this big match scenario against Seth. So I think you're doing yourselves a disservice essentially by not putting it on a PLE, because you're not, you know what I mean? You're not building Bronson the way that you could be building him. So I'm gonna say Seth versus Bronson Reed is one of the matches that I'm very confident is gonna be on this card.
I'm fully with you, Dylan. I mean, I think that in terms of how long this feud goes, I'm not sure. It wouldn't surprise me if there were a one and done at Crown Jewel, but I think we probably get at least 2 matches if I had to throw my money on it, and I think we get the first match at Crown Jewel. Obviously, Seth Rollins is one of your biggest stars. He's going to be on the card, and so I'll tell you what, Dylan, one of the matches that I think is going to happen is another returning superstar is going to partake in this, and I was trying to figure out how they were going to go about this at Crown Jewel. Initially, I thought, and I'm still kind of pissed we didn't get Rock versus Cody at Crown Jewel, because now I've no idea when that's going to happen. And then I thought we were going to get Roman versus Solo as well. However, I think now with Jimmy returning, I think we're getting Roman and Jimmy versus Solo and the Samoan Werewolf, Jacob Fatu.
That's a great match, Mark. I don't know how I didn't think of that. You're probably right, man.
Because, like, part of me thought they were going to do, like, even then, like, still doing Roman versus Solo, but right now it doesn't feel like we're building towards Roman versus Solo. Right now, it feels like we're going to get another tag team match. I'm
kind of with you. I think after your explanation there, I really like that Jimmy and Roman versus Solo and Jacob, and I like the idea of, like, you go there and then we go to Survivor Series, and then after Survivor Series, right? Because after Survivor Series they can go, then they can go either to Roman Solo, right? And like do like Roman Solo at the Royal Rumble or something like that, you know what I mean? Or they could go straight into Roman and Rock if they want to build that, start building that in, I mean, December. It's not that, wouldn't really be that crazy at all. They've built matches. They've built matches probably not as big as that. They've built them for longer than that. You know what I mean? Like so a build from December to the beginning of May for Rock versus Roman isn't out of the cards at all. I think it probably makes the most sense to have Roman and Solo go one-on-one at the Rumble and then lead into. But I really like this idea, Mark. I really like. How do you think it plays out? Like, you think there's any shenanigans?
Oh, there's always shenanigans with the bloodline, Dylan.
Yeah.
I think that this is going to be a key moment in Roman Reigns' bloodline story, with them kind of realizing that they need some more people. Because essentially, even though it is a tag team match, you have Tama and Tonga on the outside. I think the numbers are going to get to them, and I think Roman and Jimmy are going to lose because of the numbers, and then I think that's going to kind of help propel them into thinking that they need help. And I think that most likely that probably comes in the form of Jimmy recruiting Sammy and kind of mending that relationship, and then obviously Sammy getting Jay for Survivor Series. So I think and I also think because obviously Saudi Arabia is they want the biggest possible show they can. They're paying a lot of money for this. So I think even past this match, I truly believe that The Rock is going to cost Cody his match. So I think it's going to be a big night for the Bloodline altogether. And I think it's going to be like a major,
I mean,
Rock story
Rock
beat.
costing Cody makes a lot more sense than Goldberg costing Gunther, for the record. But I'm just saying, the big thing was that in Triple H's post with Goldberg, he said, "We'll talk very soon."
Yeah. I mean, it
so-
wouldn't surprise me because obviously Goldberg has wrestled, I believe, at Crown Jewel before. So
Yeah,
I mean,
where
they
he won
obviously
the Universal Championship from the
yeah.
worst decision ever.
Oh man, don't even remind me about that.
Yeah, dude, Bray Wyatt's turning in his grave right now.
So,
It's
do you
fucking
think
disgusting?
what? Do you think Jay defends the IC title here? He's gotta, right? He's got to be on the
Yeah.
card.
You would think so, right? Because of how over he is, man. Like, that dude is so fucking over.
It's
I
crazy.
can't believe you don't like him. Like, it's
Oh man.
that's our bit. That's our new bit on the Burning Hammer. Is that Mark doesn't like Jey Uso.
No yeet.
But nah, I think yeah, it feels like, especially after Braun, which that was weird.
What? I didn't see that.
So 2 weeks ago, Braun and Jay did like a handshake. Like, Braun came out after Jay won and like shook his hand and like walked away, and they had like a proper. And then to end Raw this week, he attacked Jay.
Oh.
So it just felt like maybe it was just to swerve us. But it
Okay.
didn't swerve me that much, I guess. It more just like made me confused. Like, it more, you know what I mean? It more just made me feel like I was like, oh yeah, I saw that coming. That just felt like they didn't need to do the fake face turn last week. Like, they could've
Yeah,
just-
the
they could've
the
just,
whole
like, not had
handshake
any-
only works is if you attack him right after. You know
Yeah,
what
I don't
mean?
know. Like, yeah, exactly. That's what threw me off. I was like, why like leave us thinking he's a babyface for a week? Like, I don't know. Like, it's like weird. It just
Todd.
felt like I said, I'm not like necessarily, I don't think it wasn't anything bad. It just felt unnecessary. It was just like a little weird. But anyway, yeah, I would have to think Jay and Braun
Run it back.
go one-on-one again here. I mean, yeah, who else would he go up against, right?
I mean, that seems like the match to me. Doesn't
Yeah.
even seem like there's that many options.
What about LA Knight? Is he on this card?
I mean, again, feels like he's got to be, right?
Yeah, but who's he going up against?
Mello?
Maybe. Did Mello and Andrade have their 7th match yet?
I don't remember. I will say I do like how they're finally are like acknowledging it as like an actual series. I wish
Yeah.
that they would have just like said it from the start instead of just having them wrestle every week and then them just being like this series is 2-2 now. I think if Mello was like me and you best of 7 series, I think that would have been slightly better, but I think we do get Mello versus LA Knight. I think you got to put LA Knight on this card. And I think that
Yeah,
potentially a triple
thinking
threat match with Andrade.
That's what I think is more likely. I think a triple threat. And then Yeah, and then like Mello and Andrade get a little bit too hung up with each other, and LA Knight gets the win there.
What do you
Um,
think about LA Knight's run so far?
so I think it's been, I think it's been solid.
Okay, I
I
agree.
think he nothing on his own. I just think he needs to be on more PLEs and stuff. Like it's just it's put him on. I think he needs to be on more PLEs. That's main the thing. He just hasn't been on a PLE since he won it, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah. So I mean that's the big thing.
It's pretty
Um,
crazy.
Yeah. So yeah,
Pretty
dude, get him
crazy.
on this one. And he's so
Yeah.
over, dude. Especially and you remember, I mean, how over he was last time they were there. Um, I'm gonna look up the SmackDown card for tomorrow
You got it.
because
I know Roman's gonna be there.
yeah.
Tell you that much.
Well, do you think we get the Wives Man at Crown Jewel or SmackDown tomorrow?
hmm.
All right, so we got Mello versus LA Knight is tomorrow.
For the title?
Um, yes.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I think maybe Andrade gets involved. Thus leading to the triple threat
Let me see.
at Crown Jewel.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Also, God, it sucks bad that AJ Styles got hurt again.
Yeah.
I really hope he's not like significantly hurt,
Yeah, hopefully he's all right.
but it looks like he might be out for a little while.
God. Well, that's what they fucking get for not doing anything with him for a while. Just sitting him out for no reason. Like that was the
Well,
other
he
thing
w-
that kind of annoyed me.
Well, no, he went over to Japan.
Yeah, that was 6
Better?
months ago.
Wasn't? I feel like he was hurt though. Like I feel like he just came back from injury.
No, dude, I swear he
I feel like that's why he just came back.
I swear they just hadn't had anything for him. Like I know it was him, and I saw a report on it that it was, which like it was funny now because the report probably isn't true, but they were saying that, and I don't remember who it was, but they said that like the reason Jimmy and AJ weren't on television was because they had nothing for them creative wise. And then I like didn't really believe it because obviously I was like Jimmy's getting involved in this bloodline story, and then like a week later he debuted. So I don't know. He wrestled in Japan in like earlier this year. And then
Yeah,
like
you're
I
right.
think I like don't think he's been hurt. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he's been okay. They just haven't had him on television for a while, which sucks. And then now obviously he comes back in his first match back. He gets hurt, so we are obviously wishing AJ Styles a speedy recovery, one of the GOATs. But
I think
mean,
this is supposed to be kind of like his farewell tour too.
you think?
I mean, how much more time does he have, dude?
Oh, he's still got it. I mean, if he
No,
depends
I'm
how
not,
he wants
not
to
saying
go
that
out.
by any means, dude. Dude can still go. I'm just saying, like, you got to think.
Clock's
he
winding down
can't
for
be
sure.
Yeah, and he can't be full time at least for that much longer.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I think that like
we got to get
full-time
AJ and Cena again. I think
Oh,
during this
yeah.
last Cena run.
on the Cena farewell tour.
Give us AJ
Give it to
Cena
me.
one more time. Yeah, need that.
Dude, that would
Mr.
be
TNA versus Mr. WWE.
a great
Double
Cena
retirement
match. Double
Yeah, it honestly
retirement.
would.
Do it.
Double retirement.
We're begging
Cena
for
versus
it,
AJ.
dude.
Mr. TNA versus Mr. WWE, and they do it to main event the first ever TNA WWE
Oh,
pay per view.
I like the way you think, Dylan. I
Anyway,
like the way you think.
let's go on here because we got a few other we got a few more matches that can be added here. So excuse me. So I believe we've got the triple threat for the U.S. title: Jay versus Braun Breaker, Seth versus Bronson Reed, and then the 2 world title matches.
So that's 5.
So that's 5. One thing I was gonna say was I feel like there's a good chance the women's tag team titles might be defended here. We might do like Bianca Belair and Jade versus Damage Control, or maybe the Pure Fusion Collective if they figure out a way to get to it by then.
I think that's where we're heading.
The Pure Fusion Collective?
Yeah, I think it's
I agree.
6-woman tag action with Naomi.
I just hate like throwing Naomi in there whenever they feel like they need a third. Like, it's like you guys get to be the champion and then just grab Naomi. You guys get to be the champs and then just grab Naomi whenever you need a third. Like, I don't know.
I mean, they're friends.
I'm just saying. Am I wrong?
You're not wrong. I'm just saying.
Naomi's
I mean, I'm with you. At some
shine.
point, at some point, they might as well just start a little 3-woman faction with how much they're running around together.
That's what I'm saying.
What I mean?
Like, they just need to do it or don't.
Yeah.
They can't just be like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I do think that the 6-woman tag match happens because I think
feel
like
bad for Naomi because I think it leaves her in a very unfortunate spot where we don't know if she's the single star or if she's like in this trio with them.
Yeah.
Like they just keep going back and forth and it's annoying. And she deserves better.
Yeah. And
what do you think of Naomi winning the Rumble?
As an idea, or do I think it's happening?
I mean, as an idea, and then just like, what do you think the odds of it actually happening would be?
I think a pretty slim chance of it happening. I don't necessarily hate it as an idea, but I like in terms of like the title picture right now, I don't know who she would really go after. I know she's on SmackDown, but I just think like,
oh yeah, I mean, well, we would figure that out down the line. It was more just like I'm thinking about it because I'm more just like she feels like she's just been in this floating around like they don't have a proper direction for her, and I'd like to see her do something a little bit more with some more substance to the story.
Especially after the clean loss to Bayley, kind of.
Yeah.
Was like, damn, what's she gonna do now?
Yeah. I think a heel Naomi would be pretty fire.
I think it would be cool.
Yeah, I really think
maybe she joins the bloodline.
I'll say this. Do you think the Bianca and Jade stuff is leading to Bianca and Jade at Mania? Or do you think it's leading to them? Or do you think they're sticking as a tag team for the foreseeable future?
So that's where I'm like having a bit of an issue trying to figure out like what direction they're going with, because they took their first tag title run, they took the titles off of them way too soon. And then that's when I was like, all right, maybe they'll kind of just like do their own thing for a couple of months and then we'll get the turn. But then they won the titles back. So now I just like don't understand what the point of them losing the titles at first was.
I literally think it was just to give like a big win, like a shocking win at Clash, like in Scotland at Unholy Union's home country.
Yeah.
And,
which I totally get, but it's also you can't just be like, we're gonna take the titles off of them to put it on you for like a month just to give them back. Like I think
yeah,
insane. But
I hate that stuff.
Yeah. Man, I don't. It does feel like we're leading towards Jade versus Bianca at WrestleMania. Like it feels like that is the end. But I also wouldn't be surprised if they kind of, whenever they lose the tag titles, which with the way they treat the women's tag titles is probably going to be sooner rather than later, I wouldn't be surprised if they also kind of are just both go their separate ways, but they don't ever have a feud.
Yeah, you might be right. I just think like so. This is one of my big things is I'm just like I stare at this women's division, and I feel like it's like I'm just like we could use like a big heel here. We could use a big baby face here, and I'm just like they have them. They have Jade and
Yeah.
Bianca right there. They're not tag team wrestlers. Like
Yeah.
I liked it at first. I did like it at first, and I was a big supporter of this at first. And I'm not even necessarily saying like break it up right away. It's just like this has had no proper direction at all. Like they still come out separately. Like they wear matching gear, but I get it. They both have cool entrances. It's weird. It doesn't feel like they're a team. Like I don't care if they're wearing matching gear. Like they still feel like two single stars, and it's not a dig on them. I think they're literally too good. Like they're too big to be in this. They're just too big of stars individually to be in this tag team long term, at least. Like, you know what I mean? It's like Shield. It's like a Shield reunion, or like I'm trying to think of like what's like a legendary tag team that would like reunite sometimes. Like I don't know. Like they can do something like that, but it's like we're like, and I'm not comparing them at all into that. I'm just saying like they're just such big stars that it just feels like such a waste. Like I feel like
it's equivalent of having like Seth and Roman just have a tag team
together. Yeah, and just like not. Yeah,
and you're just like we need them on their own because they're massive stars.
Yeah,
I mean, I definitely hear you, and especially if you look at
it's also because I look at it from the perspective of this real quick before you say was like I just think of like it just in regular conversation, like not even on the podcast, like how much me and you will be like, man, they really could use like another big baby face on Raw in the women's division, right? And then we're just like Bianca Belair, like just put her on Raw, and then we're just like, damn, like another big heel on or another big like oh Jade, like there she is, like. Just do it. Like I don't understand. I think they will. I just think it's weird.
I think the women's division as a whole is in a bit of a weird spot right now on both
title,
shows. Dude, I'm with you. Like that. So that's what I think. There have the few issues are this, right? And literally, I was going to say exactly what you said because you look at SmackDown. Who's the top heel for the women on SmackDown? Nia?
No, yeah, she is.
Like you need you need a bigger heel than Nia Jax on SmackDown. And Nia's been doing great, but like you need like a massive, massive heel. Who's the biggest babyface in the women's division on SmackDown? Bayley?
Yeah.
But like also in terms of her babyface runs and her runs, like this one, like she's obviously a big star, but she's not at the height that she once was currently. And we can like. That's not necessarily her fault, but then you go to Raw.
It's just wrestling is it's not her fault. It's just wrestling is constantly evolving and moving, and you need to keep things fresh and you need to keep things entertaining. It's really not on the fault of the talent, like you said. It's like they just put Bayley. They're just like you're gonna be our top babyface for the year, and it's just like she's been doing a wonderful job, but it's also at the same time there's points where you're like. Is there a different babyface in this women's division besides Bayley? Like,
yeah, that's how it feels. And then like,
and that's not on her at all. That's just like, can we get Bayley, or it's like make the story a little bit more interesting on Bayley's perspective. Like, give her some more like leeway to get us interested. I don't know. It's just like you said, they have such a talented division, and they just keep like going through the same like people kind of, and it feels like we need to. I'm almost at the point where I'm like, I think they should make like an hour, like a 1 hour weekly show that's just the women. Like they need to do something to get this. Like there's just so much wasted talent essentially. Like there's just so much more they can be doing. So just do it. Like you have the time, you have the ability to do it. Like all you need to do is make a show on Peacock that comes out every, you know what I mean? And it's like, it's like Evolution, and it's like weekly, and it's and it's like the first hour of Raw. Now that Raw is 2 hours, and it's just all women. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, boom, right there. Like, that gets so many more women involved. Like, just do something to make it more interesting.
So I think like part of the problem is with the women's division, they're like it doesn't feel like there's enough heels and baby faces as a whole, right? And that's because like I just said, Bayley and Nia are your top feud on SmackDown as your top two face and heel. But then it's like you have the women's tag titles on Jade and Bianca. That's right there. It's either you can get a top babyface or you can get a top heel from either one. They can go either way. Whatever you need them to do, they can do it.
Yeah, and
but
like,
then
this isn't even a dig on them as a tag team. It's just like they've been like
their
WWE
services are needed elsewhere. They're not needed in the tag division.
Yeah, and
Like,
it's
it's
just
that
like
simple.
WWE has been so wishy-washy with it, where it's just like, are they a tag team or are they not? Like,
Yeah. And then, like, you look at Monday Night Raw, your women's champ is just caught up in the Judgment Day story. And so it's like, all right, like, it doesn't feel like they're just like, it feels like the title's an afterthought on Monday Night Raw. And it's not like we're getting a good feud for the title. Obviously, Rhea's trying to get her title back, but it's like, the feud is with the Judgment Day and Rhea Ripley. And then you look like outside
really
of that.
if they're going to continue the feud too, like, which it seems like they are, they really need to move away from the Dom thing. Like, they need to. And I don't know if they are, but, like, oh my God. Boy, do they need to move away from it. Like, just make it about the title, man. Like, stop talking about Dom. Stop talking about the Judgment Day. Like, if it's a promo, whatever. Dom and Liv can be, like, or Liv and Raquel can be at Dom and Raquel can be at Liv's side, but enough about the I stole your man, I stole your Judgment Day. Like, just talk about the title.
Yeah.
Like, and they can simply do it even as, like, Rhea just saying something like, shut up, I'm over this. Like, you just need to shut up, I'm over this, I want the title. I don't want to talk about anything else. I want the title that you stole from me.
Yeah.
That's all I care about. Like, all we need is, like, Rhea to do one of those, and then we're back on track.
Yeah, we just need, like, a clear cut Liv and Rhea feud, not Liv, Rhea, Dom, and Raquel feud, because, like, it just takes away from the Women's World Championship. And, like, that's what, like, I think they need to, and I know the women's tag titles can kind of go wherever, but, like, I think they need to be a staple of Raw, or they need to have a women's mid-card title on the opposite show. Like, you have too many talented women on your shows that you're not doing anything with, and the entire division as a whole feels like it's in a bit of a weird spot. And hopefully...
And it's like the women's tag team titles were supposed to just make it all better, and it seems like they've only confused things more. Like, it seems like they've only, over time, like, just given us, like, time fillers, and I don't know, man. Like, just give us, like, a real tag team division. Which is, like, they're slowly starting, and it's been a lot more of that lately, and I will say that. Like, it has very much more felt like there's a women's tag team division as of late, more than there has ever felt in the past. So I'll at least give them that.
Especially faction-wise.
Yeah, so maybe
at least on Raw.
So maybe I'll give the thing, maybe, who knows, maybe the call now is they're going to have them drop it to a tag team at this point, and they just wanted to establish the division a little bit more. Who knows? But I felt like they were fine on Unholy Union. Like, I felt like they were doing a fine job as champions.
I thought they were great. And then they, like, when they lost them, they weren't even first in line to get them back.
Yeah.
That was crazy. Do you think, let me ask you this, do you think Jade and Bianca end the year as women's tag champs?
No. I think they're singles by Mania season.
I think there's no shot they end the year as tag champs.
Yeah, I think you need them in singles comp.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I'm with you. So do you have, what was that? So that would be 6 matches.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that seems like a good number, and it seems like you have a lot of talent on the show. It seems like you have a lot of your big stars on the show. Are there any other matches you think that could potentially happen?
The one thing with me is I'm like, it feels weird not having Sami Zayn on this card. I'll say that.
Okay.
So I'm not exactly sure what he would do. But I will say it just feels weird to me not having Sami on this card.
Do you think he gets involved in a potential Roman and Jimmy tag match?
You never know. I think it could be. I think maybe he could get involved in the bloodline stuff, and that's how we that's why he doesn't have a match. I'm not sure, but I don't know. It just feels weird not having Sami. So I would honestly expect them to figure out some way to have Sami Zayn on this card.
Okay.
Especially after he was not allowed to go to the Saudi Arabia shows for so long. And now he is, one of, and he's a, Middle Eastern born Muslim man, who has been a great form of representation for, people over there in Saudi Arabia. They feel like he's been a great form of representation of Muslim people in the WWE and stuff. So I would just find it very hard to believe that he's not going to be on this card again.
Yeah, I'm with you. I just don't. I have no idea.
No,
like,
I'm with
what
you. I have
he
no
would
idea what he
even-
does. Like, I really don't know. Yeah.
I mean, unless they
That's
try
why-
to, unless they
Unless
try
they
to
start
do a
recruiting.
6-man tag,
And they pull in
Roman,
Sami.
Jimmy, and Sammy versus Fatu,
Feels
Tama,
quick.
Tonga. I'm with you.
Yeah, no. I know what you mean. Who knows? Maybe Sammy's not on it.
I don't know. We have
uh,
3 weeks to build this relationship between Sammy and Jimmy, and they also don't need to be like perfectly cool with each other at the time of Crown Jewel. Like, he can kind of like hesitantly be like, all right, I'm going to join you guys, but I'm doing it for Jimmy. I'm not doing it for you, Roman. And then like Roman and Sammy can kind of build their relationship in the weeks after that leading up to Survivor Series. So
Yeah, potentially. I just think it also, like, for me right now, it doesn't make sense for Sammy to join up with them, especially right after KO turned on Cody for that.
yeah. But I think that could be a fun beat in the story as well, is if Sammy does join him, then KO attacks Sammy.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't lead to anything, I wouldn't mind that at all, of just KO kind of just going around beating up his friends who are kind of rejoining with Roman and the bloodline stuff. But you guys let us know in the comments. Drop your Crown Jewel early match card predictions. And let us know the match you feel most confident about. For me, I think the match I feel most confident about is Roman and Jimmy versus Solo and Fatu. Dylan, what match do you feel most confident about is happening?
Seth versus Bronson Reed.
All right. There you have it. So with that being said, I'm Mark Izzo. He is Dillon O'Brien. And this has been another episode of the Burning Hammer Podcast. We'll catch you next week.